Good morning. Today we are going to discuss something about materials management. In previous tutorials, I can give overall introduction about various activities in production management. Now, in materials management, what we are going to discuss and why we are going to discuss about material management, that is to be discussed further. And first thing, materials management nowadays is a separate elective for MBA course. There is a separate subject or separate course for material management. Now, why that much importance for materials management? There is a question about it. And the purchase behavior of individual leads to the effect or the way how we are going to procure material for our factory. For example, I still remember for buying a single shirt, I am visiting lot of nearby stalls and I refer all the models available, and I took enough time to place an order before buying a single shirt. Now that scenario is totally different, and we have a lot of websites. We can set any one website and we can serve lot of models in a single place, and I can even compare the price of different suppliers, and for placing a same shirt I can compare with different websites and different price, different model, colors, and I have a choice. I have lot of varieties and I can quickly process all those things in a small time, and everything all happen because of effective material management behind the screen. Here in materials management, the various objective for a company is procuring a material easily, quickly, at low cost, with high quality. All those comes for a company's point of view. Even an individual face all those situations while placing an order. While placing an order with Amazon or placing an order with Flipkart or Snapdeal, we have all those things to be considered, and we have verify all the models available, and we have comparison of prices. We have different models available. All those factors leads to our purchase behavior. The same thing comes for the company's purchase manager also. He have lot of choices, lot of suppliers available to supply a same product. We are going to buy a raw material, say for example cotton, and throughout India, not even in India, throughout the world, there are so many suppliers supplying cotton, and have a lot of varieties in it. Quality difference is there, price difference is there, delivery speed is there. By considering all those points, we have to come or we have to take a best decision before placing the order. If you are doing any mistake in placing order, or your decision making in placing order, it leads to your profit, it leads to your profit variations. Exactly. And if you are able to minimize even a small price or 1 rupee in per kg, it leads to higher difference in the profit of a company. So before placing any order or before selecting the place of the supplier, we have to consider so many points, and that is about placing order with the external supplier. Within a factory, again we have lot of important points to consider. Where to place the material and how to move the material, what tool we can use for transfer the material from one place to another place. For all those points we have to consider a lot of informations, and all comes under the topic materials management. First, the materials management is all about the process of material in your factory. So at the place of where you are receiving a material to the place where you are going to send the material to the end user, in between these two stages, whatever we do regarding material, that is material handling or material management. So we are receiving a raw material from a supplier, we are storing it in an inventory, and for storing the products in a safer condition, we have taking lot of insurance, we are maintaining the workplace cleanly, and we are doing all safety provisions here, and we are appointing some employees for monitoring the quality of product in storage place. And from that point, while for processing it, we are transferring it through a conveyor belt or a trolley, whatever is available, even automated transport mechanisms available, and we are processing it in between every machine. And work in progress, that means semi-finished product, travels throughout all the process. Finally it reaches the final product inventory, that means finished product inventory. In between all those stages, we are doing lot of activities, and your duty is not over, and you are storing a finished product in a one place that is called finished product inventory. From that, we have to transport the materials to some other parts. That means the place where buyer consuming the product. Till that point, you are responsible for taking all those activities. It all comes under the responsibility of materials manager. And materials manager, he plans all those activities clearly before proceeding the first activity, that is placing order with the supplier. And what are the points he has to consider, and what are the functions he is going to perform, all those things we will coming discuss one by one. And the executives who engage in materials management basically comes under three activities. The first thing, the employees engage in the activity of buying. So buying, sometimes you can call that as a procurement of raw material, procurement of lubricants, procurement of oils, whatever comes, it all comes under buying behavior. You are buying furniture for your office purpose, you are buying raw material for manufacturing purpose, you are buying safety equipments for your employee purpose. In all those area, you are doing purchase. And second thing, storage of materials. After receiving a material, how we are going to store it in a safe condition. That is again the second activity. And third activity, movement. The employees who are all working for moving the material from one stage to another place, all comes under the third category. So all workers under materials management comes under this three category, and based on the position what he is holding, the powers will differ and the responsibility will differ. And the simple definition for materials management available here is the flow of materials in an organization to the point where those materials are getting consumed or it converted into a finished product. Till all those activities comes under materials management. And this diagram clearly explains about the various stages of materials movement. It starts with the resource extraction, and from resource, that means raw material, you are procuring raw material from one place, that material reaches your company for further processing. Further processing includes packaging, conversion, or assembly, whatever it may be. You are doing all those process here, and after doing the process on the material, you are going to the second stage. This stage differs company to company. In some companies, product designing and manufacturing applicable, or in some companies, this designing process is not at all available. They are only assembling all the units and making a finished product. Okay, you have a manufacturing facility, you are doing all designing work and manufacturing work here, and once you manufacture a product, and your duty is to distribute all those products to the retailers who are all selling the product. And in between the distribution of product, we have a lot of choices. You can sell your product in your factory itself. From that moment, some other third party will take the responsibility of supplying it to the end user. And another choice, all those responsibility comes in your transporting managers. You take all those responsibilities till the customer's place. You cover all those duties. That is another way. And once it reaches the distribution section, and customer buys a product and he uses it, and once it covers the entire economic life of the material, that means the usage period is over, they are disposing the material, and we are not allowing disposing it purely in a dustbin. Whatever the products, we can use it once again, and we have to extract it further. And end life of the material and recovery of material. Say for example, in a mobile phone service center, now we can see a waste mobile deposit box, and that is not only to clear the place, and through that box the company can get reusable products for their new models. And say for example, in a mobile phone, there are a lot of small parts inside. It includes chips, it includes camera, it includes audio sets, 3.5 mm jack, whatever it is available, all deposited through the dustbin, and they will recover the usable parts and they will use it again, and it will reduce the overall cost of manufacturing. That is the benefit for the company. For that purpose, materials managers, they are looking on end life recovery also. And if you recover anything useful and it goes to another stage and it passes to all those process and comes to a new product model once again. Okay. And another diagram clearly explains about what are all the ways a material passes through different stages and it reaches to end user's place. And here there is a factory, and after manufacturing a product, they are transporting through any transportation mode. It may be a ship, or it may be air cargo, or it may be a train transport, road transport, and it reaches to warehouse where they are storing all the manufactured product, finished product. And if you are transporting material through two destinations, the distance between these two destinations are higher. There is a halt point required in between. Again, that may be called as warehouse. Here you store the material and then you dispatch the material through another transportation mode, and this material reaches to the end user's place. The end user's place, it may be a final retail outlet, or it may be another stockist, whatever it may be, and through them the product reaches to the user. The user effectively using it, and once again, as I told you earlier, whatever the parts we can recover for further new product development, we can get it. And once again, the material management is not only talks about transporting material from one place to another place within a factory or within supplier and end user. It covers some other points also. An emerging area of operations is supply chain management, to provide flexibility of getting product in different place, and the concept supply chain management helps us, and it takes the responsibility of monitoring all those activities from the place where it cultivated to the place where it consumed. So here there is a supplier. In this example, there is a supplier. He supplied product to a manufacturer through a procurement section. So a procurement is a process of buying material from supplier, and after getting material, you are manufacturing it, you get a final product, that is a finished product. So finished product is available now, and you are storing a finished product in the inventory, and from inventory you are distributing product to some other buyers, and for distribution you are getting assistance through logistics division. So logistics takes care of transportation. So you are supplying to different parts of your country, and for that effective logistics management is required, and through your logistic partner, the product reaches in different destination, and in their destination there is a retailers, and they are selling a product. Through retailer, the customer gets the product, and this entire cycle or entire activities comes under supply chain. So supply chain is a very big circle. Inside that, all those activities comes. And the different importance of materials management, why we are considering that much important, I gave you already outline, and here the important points for exam point of view as well as understanding point of view. The first important thing about material management here, amount spent on materials is higher than inputs. In a manufacturing company, we are spending lot of expenses. Majority expense goes to input. That is what the known thing for everyone, raw material. And when you compare the costs of different manufacturing company, the cost between the input and the way how you are going to use it inside your factory, the two difference is meager, and it's very closer to input cost. If you are doing any mistake in materials management, your overall cost affected tremendously. So next to input, material management incurs more cost, and for that we are giving more importance for material management to reduce the overall cost. The second point, considerable scope for reducing cost of manufacturing. If you are able to reduce the cost of manufacturing, you are able to increase the profit. So profit is outcome of effectiveness or efficiency. So if you are doing some effective measures in reducing cost, it will lead to improved profitability of a company. And third important of material management is improving return on investment. Whatever you are investing in material management, it gives more return for the company. If a company buying a material handling equipment for say for example 10,000 or 50,000, a small equipment, and it can produce more than the cost, the return rate is higher, and all the materials adds values on it. Every stage it passes adds some value on the material. So in the raw material, the material cost may be 50 rupees per kilogram, and for every process some value is getting added with the cost of the material. Semi-finished product cost definitely is not going to 50 rupees per kilogram. It's a higher rate, and at the time of finished product, the cost may be around 100 or 150 rupees per kilogram. So that cost difference is value addition. Through every process, we are adding some value on it again and again. And quality of end product may be improved if you are doing effective material management. And if you are doing a wrong choice of selecting material handling equipment, it will affect the quality. And you can make purchasing, storing, inventory activities in a more effective way. And efficiency, you can do right material selection, right quantity at right time at the right place when your material manager is working correctly. Okay. And the objectives of materials management can easily classify under two groups: primary objective and secondary objective. And primary objective, lowering the price, higher inventory turnover, and low cost for buying raw material, continuous supply, consistent quality, and favorable supplier relationship, good records, or the primary objectives. And apart from that, there are few secondary objectives also. Reciprocal relations. If you are doing some relationship with your supplier, you are paying all the payments promptly on time, and it reflects in their on time delivery, and that is a reciprocal relationship. In what way you are behaving with them, in the same way they will behave with you. And economic make or buy, in some situation there is a different criteria to make decision whether you can buy it from the supplier or you yourself make it. And while deciding it, you have to do some comparison. When you are buying with some other supplier, what is the cost, what are all the benefits available? When you are manufacturing it in your roof, what are all the cost and what is the other benefits available? By comparing all the benefits and drawbacks, you can come out with a decision. That is again role of materials management. And standardization, product improvement, interdepartmental harmony, and forecast are some other objectives of materials management. And now the different functions we are doing in materials management. The first function, material planning and programming. For a manufacturing company, the manufacturing manager or materials manager, they have to plan the entire year's requirement of raw material. So we have our past history to refer. By referring that, for the coming year, total number of products can be procured, raw materials can be procured, can be calculated. Based on that, you can plan your order process. From which supplier you can order, what to negotiate, what are all the quality choice available, all those things only after the first thing, material planning. The entire year's requirement is available now. With that, you can do a further planning. And second thing, purchasing and outsourcing. So for procurement, there are so many activities incurred. Who are all the suppliers available? What are all the strength and weakness of each supplier? And what are all the cost differences? What are the quality differences? All those points to be considered. Based on that, you have to place the order, second function. And third one, inventory control. After receiving material, where you are going to store it, and what are all the provisions you are going to take, and what policy you are going to take, what inventory model you can use. All those decision making comes in third point. And storekeeping and warehousing. How we are going to organize material in stores, and whether you can store it vertically, horizontally, one over another, or warehousing, whether you are using your own resources or you are taking third parties warehouse, what choices available, that all comes here. And standardization and evaluation of all products, and the procedures what you are doing, whether that is a standardized one or it differs time to time. Procurement, that should be standardized in some companies, the rules followed, and the way of selecting supplier, if it is a standardized one, no one can influence for selecting one particular supplier based on his preference. And transportation and material handling, movement of material from one place to another place and one factory to another factory, all those points comes here, and that is again the responsibility of a materials manager. And seventh function, inspection and quality control. So quality control is not the activity what we are doing at the end of a process. In between all the process, we have to check the quality. Stage by stage quality assurance is important, so that we can arrest the quality related variation in that moment itself. And cost reduction through value analysis, we can compare the value addition in different stages, in which stage you are getting more value, in which stage you are not getting more value, you can understand. Based on that, you can do some cost reduction on it. And disposal of surplus or outdated material in a safer way, or in a way where you can earn money further. And if you are simply disposing it, is not a best idea. And even there is a separate buyers for buying waste product in a factory, and you can reuse the materials, waste materials once again in your manufacturing process. Whatever possible in this stage, you can do it. And distribution to different stockists or retailers for making your product available to all retail shops. The customers, they will not search for your product in different shop. They will show you, they will go to a nearby shop. If your product is not available, they will buy your competitor product. So making assurance or making available of your product in all the place is your responsibility. And material handling is the important part of materials management. It comes in movement of material inside your factory. So the art and science of moving, packaging and storing of material in any form inside your factory called as material handling. And material handling, it looks small job, but it is an important job to consider to reduce cost, to maximize the quality. And the objectives of material handling: lower material handling cost and reduction of manufacturing cycle time, faster movement of materials, and better control of flow of material from one process to another process, and ensuring workplace safety, and better quality by avoiding unwanted manual movements. Wherever you see a manual movement of material, there is a chance of quality related problems. If possible, avoid all the manual handling. If you are doing it through equipment, the quality will not get affected. So material handling is again an important task. And for material handling, we have to think something about in what way we can behave, in what way we can use the available opportunities for completing our work easily. There are some set of principles available. If you follow all the 10 or at least some of the 10 principles in our workplace, we can able to do material handling in a more convenient way. And these are the guidelines. You are not compelled to follow all the 10. Whatever possible in your workplace, you can adapt it, and through that you get a better result. The first principle, planning principle. So for the entire workplace, what are all the materials available, wherever you are moving a materials, and how long it will be stored in one place, and what is the weight of a material, what is the physical characteristics, density, and is there any possibility of fire accident, or is there any possibility of damage during rainy season. All those points we consider, that is a planning stage. And if your product is a heavy density or heavy weight product, what you are going to use to lift it? If it is a light density product, what you are going to do it? Everything planned. And second principle, standardization principle. and follow a same method or a best method to do the job of moving a material from one place to another place. Standardize it. And third principle, work principle, your material handling technique or material handling equipment, that is only for minimizing the work of efforts of your employees. For making them trouble, we are not doing anything. We are responsible for reducing the work burden of your employees. So you keep that in point, and wherever possible, try to reduce work burden of your employees by providing necessary tools in that particular location. And ergonomic principle, so in a place, man, machines, equipments available that should be interrelated or interlocked. So whenever you require a tool, that should be readily available in a nearby location. You need not search for the tools throughout the factory. If it is a assembly place, for assembling the components, whatever tools you need, all those tools should be available in your nearby places or easily reachable places. So that is ergonomics, workplace convenience. And unit load principle, and you have a container and fill the container before moving it to different place, and half filled containers moving from one place to another place, it reflects the wastage of energy. So for the empty container, you are giving lot of efforts. So wait some time, fill all the containers and travel it. You are having lot of spare parts, so many small products in your factory, and you can club it and all in one container and fill it and transport it. And space utilization principle, available space should be utilized in a more convenient and effective way. And for that, there is a mechanism called vertical storage, and even till near to your roof, you can store the material one over another, and it will not directly on the product, rack position, vertical racks till the roof. And one may ask a question, if you are placing a material in the very near to roof, how to take it? Manual handling is not possible, but in that place, automatic handling is possible. And when you are storing it vertically, the horizontal space can be utilized more effectively. You can store more number of product in a small space, that is possible. And system principle, and in material handling, the activities are interrelated, that is an entire system, and all parts are working together for getting a best result. So system principle and automation principle, wherever possible, try to introduce automated handling techniques. And environmental principle, wherever possible, use eco-friendly products, and whatever equipment producing more harm to the environment, try to avoid it. That is environmental principle. And the last principle is gravity principle. Try to utilize the gravity force available for material movement. And if you are transporting material from down place to up place, you need to spend a lot of effort. And in a inclined place, top to bottom, you can easily transport. So you can design your workplace in that way, where you can use the gravity force to transport the material. And I can show you some example of it. So gravity principle, here there is a conveyor belt. This conveyor belt is slightly inclined in this direction, and when you place a product on left hand side, it can easily move to right hand side. And here the gravity force is also helping along with other external source or energy, and in that way you can able to minimize the energy for transporting material place one place to another place. And ergonomics is a science of adapting the job and equipment and human to each other for optimal safety and productivity. And here the example of unit load principle, there is a container here, and don't fill the container in half place, always full containers. And even your product is not enough to fill the entire container, and you can get some products from the nearby department, and you can move it together, and you can share the expenses. Overall cost will be lower. And here you can see example of space utilization principle. The products are stored vertically till near to your roof. here also store vertically, and another example of storing it. Here you can even construct ways to go to roof for storing it further. And if automation is not possible, you can do this kind of arrangement for storing and taking raw material from one place to another place. And automated handling, there is a automated handling equipment here, and this equipment can lift a product, even a heavyweight product, to any place, and this is the inside space. And here through pipelines you can transport liquids, gaseous substances in this way, and again there is a automation here. And environmental principle, you can use eco-friendly products for transporting one place to another place. And steps in designing material handling equipment, there are some steps available. In first thing, define the objective and scope of material handling system. In what way we are going to do material handling, whether you do it manually, mechanically, or through some other mode, what way that is be finalized. That is the first thing. And analyze the requirement for handling, storage, and controlling material. So what is your limitation? What is your budget? What about your product? All those points to be considered in this place. Based on considering all those points, we can select best choice and generate alternative designs for meeting material handling equipment. If you decide handling materials through trolleys, what are all the alternative design of trolleys available, and for each trolley what is the cost difference, what are all the capacity, that is to be finalized. And it's all about decision making of best choice. And evaluate alternative material handling system. Comparison, based on the comparison we are getting a best thing, and select the preferred design of handling and implement the preferred design, that's all. And selection of material handling equipments, it mainly depends upon the characteristics of a product. For some product, manual handling is not possible. You are only depending on automation or some other handling equipment. Say for example, risky substances or high temperature materials, molten steel, you cannot do it manually. Your only choice is through mechanically or some other modes of transport. In some case, only manual is possible, not automation is possible. So the deciding criteria here is the characteristic of a product. What product you are going to transport. Based on that, decide what tool you are going to use. And again, the nature of the process using the equipment and characteristics of the workplace, all those points again have importance while deciding a material handling system. And classification of material handling equipments while available here. The first thing, manual handling, transport material with the effort of the employees, manual effort, 100% manual energy. And second thing, mechanical handling equipment, and you can use mechanical energy with manpower, and it comes in the second category. And third category, semi-automatic. Automation is introduced here, but that is not fully automatic. You need a manpower to handle this tool. And in that semi-automatic, you have conveyors, cranes, and trucks. Conveyor belt, you can use an operator, and crane, trucks, again they are in need of an operator. And fourth one, fully automatic. You need not require manpower to do anything. Everything programmed. As per your program, all the transportation activities happens in your factory. That is automation. And I can show you some of the example of different choices available. And so manual handling, the entire transportation process through manual is a conventional way. For cottage industries, they don't have any other choices. They have limited fund. They are only depending on this. But through the manual handling, there are so many possibilities of affecting quality of materials. And you can use mechanical handling equipments to minimize the burden of manpower, and you can do the work more simple way, in more quicker way. And semi-automatic conveyor belts, if you place a material here, through the conveyor belt it goes throughout your factory. Wherever you need, you can take it and you can use it and you can replace it. And semi-automatic crane, the advantage of it, you can lift heavy weight object through this crane and you can do transportation. And another examples are truck, heavy weight items, car, you can only transport through containers and trucks. And automated handling system, this equipment, AGV, automated guided vehicles, and you can see a lot of AGVs throughout your factory, and you can operate in a centralized terminal, and the direction of this vehicle can be controlled by a operator, and you can lift any product, and you can move to any parts in your factory, and you can place it in anywhere. And even there is a choice of lifting it to a height, and horizontal movement, vertical movement together possible in automated guided vehicles. And this type of setup called ASRS, automated storage and retrieval system. And this moving part can deposit and withdraw product from any container. All rows have different containers, and usually the name of a container is a bin. Each bin have a bin number, and whenever you are depositing a material in a inventory or warehouse, your bin number is allotted, and it can be stored in any place. And at the time of requirement, the bin number can be given to retrieve the material back, and you need not search material inside. Not even a man, a single worker can go inside. Fully automated. Your role is in a front terminal. You can give what product you need, or from which bin you need a product, and it can automatically take product from that place and bring it to you. And the product moving to and fro called shuttle, and this shuttle can deposit and withdraw product from any place. So this entire process called as ASRS. And again, the ASRS model can be expressed here. This is the inside space of shuttle. This is the shuttle. These are the bins, and there are so many bins, and this is moving in and out. And this is again a simple example of ASRS system. There is a front terminal here. In this front terminal, an operator can deposit the products or material here, and a separate number allotted here, and the product reaches to any one bin available in this factory. There are so many bins available, vertically arranged. You can see small boxes here. Each box is a bin, and every bin has a number, and your material gets some number, and there is a shuttle here. The shuttle comes and picks the material, and it deposits to any one part. And when a need arises, you will do instruction here. The shuttle brings the material back to your place. And some of the advantages and disadvantages listed here of ASRS. An automated storage and retrieval system consider a variety of computer control methods for automatically placing and retrieving material from the bin. And there is a very high volume of loads being moved into the bin easily, and you can reduce time of searching for a product. You can get it quickly, easily, and storage density is very higher, and you can store more number of product in a place. And there are 4 parts in the ASRS setup, and as I told you earlier, shuttles, control panel, loading and unloading bin, and storing of material. There is a bin. Okay, so this diagram clears a very big view about ASRS. So this is the control panel. This is the shuttle which is moving down, up, left, right in all directions, and these are all bins, and all bins have numbers like you can see here, and till very near to roof you store the materials. Whenever need arises, you can easily bring it to down place. This is a terminal. There is an operator here. he deposits all the product when it comes to your place in a terminal. There is a system available. He can assign a number and he can assign the place in this location. This is a loading and unloading point. A shuttle will reach this place and it will load or unload from this place to any place. These are all the bins. All the bins are available, and in any one of the bin the shuttle can store the material. When you need arises, you enter a code here and the material comes from the bin to your table in a quicker way. And there are some more important points available. We will discuss in some other sessions. And in this session we discuss something about what is materials management, how to define materials management, and what are all the functions performed by materials managers, and what is the role of material handling in materials management, and what are the tools available in material handling in an effective way. So I hope the points we discuss is useful, and we'll see it in some other discussion. Thank you.